The United Nations Security Council is expected to meet today to discuss the coronavirus pandemic. The decision comes after 9 council members wrote to the UNSC presidency requesting for an immediate meeting. Keep this in mind that this meeting comes after 9 non-permanent members asked for it. Neither the US, France or even the UK called for the meeting. The Council President for the month of April, the Dominican Republic, has formally scheduled a closed video conferencing meeting. The meet will be quoting regarding the impact of COVID-19 on the issues that fall under the UNSC mandate, unquote. But the immediate question that arises is, why is this meeting coming after almost 3 months of the outbreak and nearly 90,000 people losing their lives across the world? The simple answer is, Beijing is no longer calling the shots. When Beijing was the council president last month, they kept blocking this initiative. Beijing even claimed that the pandemic was not a peace and security issue. Beyond the optics of a meeting now, the international community will be hoping for a UNSC's resolution on the pandemic. There are 2 drafts currently in circulation, one among the permanent members and another among the non-permanent members. The Security Council could take up any of the 2. The UNSC sources have told Beyond that Tunisia has produced the first draft of a resolution, which will be negotiated initially among the elected members of the Council. Subsequently, a French-led draft resolution will also be discussed exclusively among the permanent 5. The most important one is the one by Estonia. This resolution highlights the growing concerns about the coronavirus outbreak. It calls for complete transparency. Remember, the proposal was rejected by China last month. A council resolution is binding on all the UN member states and would help mobilize resources on a war footing. US media reports claim that Washington insists that the resolution should mention that the virus emerged in China's Wuhan. So what are the possible outcomes? The outcome of today's UNSC meeting depends on the proposals and how China and its ally Russia exercise their veto powers. There are 2 possible scenarios. The first one is that the resolution fails. This could happen if China, Russia, or both of them vote against it. It could also fail if it gets less than 9 votes in the 15-member council. The second scenario is that the resolution passes. That's if all the permanent members and 4 other members vote for it. It could also happen if both China or Russia abstain from voting. Joining us in the broadcast is our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibul. A lot of anticipation in the air, Siddhant. What's the latest in terms of that scheduled meeting that we know as of now? And the meeting, of course, comes after a delay of about 3 months since the outbreak began.
Yes, in a short while from now, we know the meeting will begin in New York, the video conference between the UNSC members, the United Nations Security Council members, and you know how China was, in fact, trying to block the entire meeting when it was the president last month. But a short while ago, it seems that there has been a tiff between India and China, because we know the Chinese mission in New York issued a statement regarding Kashmir, saying that Kashmir is high on the agenda. Remember, last month, Pakistan, believing or hoping that China is its best friend, gave a letter to China as the president of the UNSC on 10th of March and hoped that it will be raised. In fact, the Chinese envoy had given the letter to all the members of UNSC, hoping that Kashmir will be raised. But there is a dichotomy, given the fact that there was an urgency when it comes to raking Kashmir at the United Nations Security Council by China, and no urgency when it comes to talking about the COVID crisis. And China literally dragged its feet when it comes to the meeting on COVID. In fact, it blocked a meeting which was proposed by Estonia. And now, once it is not the president of UNSC, now Dominican Republic has called for this meeting, and the meeting is going to take place very soon. But by and large, we know what is the Chinese stance. China fears that when it will be discussed among the 15 members of the UNSC, it will be asked questions, uncomfortable questions on the origin of the virus. Why did not China give the initial information that could have saved a lot of lives and could have prevented the pandemic to spread? So by and large, these uncomfortable questions will be asked.
Absolutely. All eyes on that crucial meeting. We are going to leave it there for the moment, Siddhant. Whether or not a resolution comes out of that meeting is the question that is being asked across the world.